Hey everybody, this is Sonny Malone. I'm with Sugar Creek Ag. I just wanted to introduce myself and tell you a little bit about Sugar Creek Ag and some of the products we have that you can use on hay fields and pastures. So Sugar Creek Ag was formed 4 years ago by myself and my partner, Taylor Merritt. Some of you guys have seen him on our social media videos and things like that, and a lot of you gotten to meet him as well. He and I are running the roads as often as we can. We work with dealers and growers in about 12 states. We promote products from Sugar Creek Ag, Grower Source, Helia, and Aqua Yield. And just wanted to take an opportunity to tell you a little bit about the products we have and what our thoughts are on how to maximize your hay production. The number one thing we talk about is soil health. Think soil first. If we can get farmers and dealers understanding those three words, think soil first, because nothing happens above ground if you don't have anything going on below ground. There's a lot of factors that can affect the availability of nutrients. So we always ask people when we get an opportunity to do a grower meeting, when you go out and put dry fertilizer down, how much of that is actually getting utilized by the crop? Well, it all depends on the soil that you're putting it on, right? That's one of the largest determining factors. There are several things that can affect the availability of nutrients in the soil, whether it be soil structure, compaction levels. Probably the number one thing is how active your soil life is, your microbial activity, your biology, your bacteria and fungi, things like that. A lot of you guys have seen the slide before in presentations that mention there's more soil life in a handful of soil than there are people on earth, and that's a true statement. The crazy thing is I've been told by soil biologists and things like that up to 75% of the microbial activity potential actually never gets utilized because it remains dormant, whether it be a limitation of the environment in which they live or whether it be a lack of food source. The number one thing that is an indicator of a healthy soil is the presence of earthworms. Everybody knows if you have earthworms, you've got a pretty good level of soil health. One of the things that I like to do in my spare time is fish, right? So I use this analogy a lot in meetings because I think it makes people think a little bit. So I always get 4 guys to come up on stage with me, and I tell them we're going to have a hypothetical fishing contest, right? 2 rules. You have to use earthworms, and you have to dig your own worms. And the winner gets $1,000, whoever catches the most fish. So the thought process is, to catch the most fish, you got to have the most worms, right? There are 5 options on where to dig the worms on any particular farm, right? The options are an old wood pile behind the barn, an old garden, edge of the woods, fence row, or in the middle of your field, whether it be your cornfield, your soybean field, your hay field, whatever. Always let 4 people pick before me. First place they always go is the wood pile. Second place is the garden. And third and fourth, it usually goes back and forth between the edge of the woods and the fence row. Every time I get stuck picking last, and I get stuck with their cornfield, their hay field, their soybean field. So what that tells me and everybody else that's participating is that the least healthy soil on a entire farm is the field we're trying to make our living in. So that's not to say that those soils are just terrible. It just goes to show us that there's improvements to be made. All the things that we do that we have to do, traffic out there on that field, that's more compaction. Rainfall that sets and doesn't drain well, that's compaction. High salt fertilizers, chemical, all the things that we have to do is beating our soil life down. All we're suggesting is to think soil first and use products that help build it up, okay? Along the lines of the fence row comment I made earlier, this is another challenge I like to tell people to go out and do. Get you a shovel, go out to a fence row that's on the edge of a field somewhere, turn it over, right? Go 20 yards into your field, any direction, and do the same thing and compare them. There's going to be a difference in color, there's going to be a difference in texture, there's going to be a difference in moisture, and if you send them off, there's probably a significant difference in the nutrient value of that soil too. So I mentioned that in a meeting one time a couple years ago, and I had a farmer, he said, that makes sense to me because he said, when you pull out a fence row and make 2 fields, one big field, he said, next year you can see to the row where that fence was. It's greener, taller, typically higher yielding. Second year, it's faint. You can still see it, but not real brilliant there, the difference. In the third year, if you didn't know where that fence row was, you couldn't tell the difference. And it's because we have beat that soil back down. So we need to, again, use products that lift them up. So the number one product that we recommend for thinking soil first is our Earthquake Liquid Humic. It's one of the 2 base products that we suggest for our hay and pasture programs. This product, just think of this product, focuses on the soil. It's going to help release nutrients that are tied up in the soil. It's going to help convert organic matter, and it's going to help with root development. So you want to put half a gallon of this out at Green Up with 2 to 4 quarts of forage factor. What forage factor is, it's an 888 with 6 micronutrients in it. A lot of times hay and pasture guys just focus on NPK, they put some lime out, but for the most part, no micronutrients. So this has got 6 micronutrients in it, and a lot of times just a little bit of a micronutrient boost for a plant that's deficient can make the world of difference. So these 2 are the products you use, again, at Green Up, 2 quarts, 2 to 4 quarts. After every cutting, 1 quart, 2 to 4 quarts. And what you'll see is typically you'll get an extra cutting, right? You'll get more off of your second and third cutting. And one of the things we hear from a lot of people using it in a pasture situation is they extend their grazing period. So we appreciate you trying it. We appreciate you taking the time to watch and listen. If you got any questions, contact us. And I think we got some folks here that are going to tell you a little bit about their experience with Earthquake and Forage Factor. Thanks.
One of the best products we like the best is what, Trent?
Earthquake Liquid Humic.
Earthquake, I think it's a game changer.
Getting a forage factor has really done a good job for us.
Forage Factor and the Earthquake has been the 2 biggest hits. Earthquake has really made a lot of difference in the grass farmers. They're seeing fulfillment in the grass, more tonnages showing up in the acres.
All year round color. When everybody else was dry, everything had such a good color to it.
We was really scared there wasn't be no new coastal, but we sprayed the Sugar Creek Earthquake and the Forage Factor. This is like dew sprigs everywhere. That 2 or 3 weeks after we sprayed it, it was phenomenal.
You tell the change.
I stopped the tractor and climbed off. I said, come here, I want you to look at something. He said, I already seen it. He said, I know what you're talking about. I said, what? He said, the difference in the grass.
So you've noticed improved forage since you've been using the Sugar Creek Ag product?
Absolutely. Even running over it twice, I still come out ahead. The cost of the product was better, and I believe the quality of the grass that I got.
I've used humics in the past. I know that humics work. 10 years of using humics, we've never seen the response that we saw this past year.